The distance between Nikhil's minutes and the other 7 have widened a little bit the last couple of series. Regardless of which team you play right now, he's covered Murray really well, covered SGA really well. Do you anticipate probably a little more impact from him, whatever team you play?
Yeah, I think like we talk to our guys all the time. Every series is different. Every game's different. But he certainly has done a great job, on some key matchups that we might face. So we feel like, going forward, he's going to be an integral part of whichever series we have.
Chris, how far has Julius come as a defender since you had him in New Orleans?
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, to me, the most impressive growth for him. He can execute a variety of coverages, but really it's just his on-ball competitiveness and ability to contain is super high level right now. And I think he feels really comfortable. I think at times, certainly when we had him in New Orleans, he didn't feel as comfortable as he is now in a lot of things that we're asking him to do. So.
Has he gotten better defensively?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, no doubt about it. Yeah, I think the care factor has gone up for sure. I think early in his career was probably regarded, other than the rebounding, as a one-way player. Now I don't see that at all. I see him as an impactful defensive player, plus defender for sure.
Does he prefer to guard bigs, or does he prefer to be on the perimeter?
I don't know. I've never really had the conversation with him. I think he feels pretty comfortable, in either situation right now. So.
Because I know at the beginning of the year, when he and Nas were on the floor together, you were putting the center, Nas on the center.
Yeah.
And it seemed like, in retrospect, he's so much better against, opposing bigs.
Well, I mean, it's the physicality,
right.
Certainly when the ball goes up. I think he does a really good job of carving out space. Each of them have kind of different strengths when you are in coverage.
Right.
So I think that's something that we try to play into. Like, we try to do what our, whatever our guys feel they can do best, rather than just what game, what a game plan might say. We
Sure.
just try to lean into their strengths. So it depends, if we want to execute one type of coverage, we'll put Nas on the big and vice versa. So.
Chris, some coaches all the way up, as will tell you, if you want to be a good defender, you got to want to be a good defender.
Yeah, sure.
If guys want to play defense, they become good defenders. Do you think that's true, or is there more to it than that if you're athletic?
I think it's definitely true. It starts within, really within your makeup. You got to have that competitiveness. It starts in your heart, then it goes to your brain. Because then it is an intelligence game as much as anything else. Then it's about your feet. So it's all those things before it's about anything else, for sure.
Speaking of that, Jaden was at those qualities. But one thing that we used to always talk about with him was the foul. It seems like that has disappeared over the last several months. Just what adjustments has he made, or maybe is there is there something to being in the league a long time? Officials kind of know him. He has a reputation now.
Yeah.
And maybe
I think all of it's true.
How does that work?
I think all of it's true. I think the other part of being a really good defender, particularly when you're guarding guys such as he is, some obviously the better guys on the floor, there's a patience and a poise that comes with that, and not feeling like you got to win every single battle. Like, it's not a zero-sum game, just making him miss a shot or making him pass it is good enough. It's not like you have to block it or get a steal. I think he was trying to win everything with a block or a steal all the time, and those often lead to fouls. I think he's done a better job of controlling his emotions when maybe a guy's gotten the better of him last time down, and then just playing the long game, like understanding you're not going to win every single battle, but be ready to go the next time down.
When did he turn that corner? Do you sense of trying to let stuff go and not committing frustration fouls?
Yeah, I would say the bulk of this year he's played that. I mean, I think early on there might have been some frustration too, he also. Like everybody else, wants to touch the ball and be a part of the offense. I think sometimes when he doesn't or hasn't been a part of the offense, he gets a little bit more petulant on defense, and those situations come up. So, his fighting human nature in those moments is big, and plus, he's been a more integral part of the offense too.
Just in general, the playoff experience, where's that show up for him, do you think, over the
Well,
past few years?
yeah, I think it's, well, going into last year's playoffs, you know, we were all intrigued to see how he would be because the year before he had missed it, you know, and then the first time round he was, you know, he played spot minutes in the Memphis series, you know, but he really kind of grew through that Memphis series, you know. I don't know if you remember, but he was playing really well by the end of it, yeah. And so unfortunately we had the lost year with the broken hand, but you know, last year it was really good, and you know, he did a lot of things. You know, he kind of went to the glass, did a lot of things we needed him to do, and things that he's kind of added to his game and kept in his game. So for me, he's gone from strength to strength in the playoffs. He just kind of, now he's just super solid. You know what you're going to get every night. You know, people were trying to hide guys on him in matchups, etc. Doesn't feel like that's like just an easy out anymore. He's done a good job of making people pay. You know.
Was that broken hand kind of the metaphor for, you know, a young guy needs to control his emotions? Did that serve a purpose to him?
Yeah, I mean, you could say that. Yeah. Punching a wall. Yeah.
You don't win many of those.
Yeah.
Chris, you've called Ant a home run hitter a lot.
Yeah.
What's the value of having a guy that, if the chips are down a little bit, he can rise up over somebody and just hit a shot, something to get the team going?
Yeah,
you know,
it's huge. Everybody needs one of those guys, like if you know, or multiples of those guys. And at this time of the year, sometimes it just comes down to that, you know. And you know, we're lucky with him, and he's done a really, really good job, impressive job of picking his spots to do it, you know, instead of trying to do it every single time. So.
The difference, Rudy in Utah and Rudy now,
Yeah.
and he's such a proud guy. How has that process gone where he has had to sacrifice a lot of things that he takes pride in to make it more situational? I mean, he's still obviously crucial to what you do,
Yeah.
but you know, the franchise isn't built around him at all.
Yeah, I mean, he's all about winning. I think he's all about his teammates too. I think he recognized from day one that, you know, he didn't have to be everything here defensively for sure. I think with a multitude of defenders around him can make life a little easier for him. You know, we've struggled at times to maximize him offensively over his time here. I think he's come to peace with that. Just, you know, I think it's just how we are constructed. You know, he doesn't let it bother him. You know, he still shows up. There are games and there are nights we've talked about. He just flat out won't let you lose, and then stays patient. You know, and in a game 5 in both series come along, and he's ready to take advantage when, you know, maybe the tactics change and open up the game for him. So, but we've preached to him since he got here that, you know, we're going to need him to do a variety of things. You know, we're going to be multi-dimensional, you know, and that was unlike Utah. So he's also leaned into that. So he's been way more open-minded in coverages or, you know, just type of things that we have to do. We know we have to do to have success in the playoffs. And some of it's going to accentuate what he does, and some of it's going to, you know, maybe not, you know, play right to his hands. So even when his minutes have come down a bit, he's been nothing but all about the team.
Chris, you hear about coaches and players talking about blocking out noise when maybe if you're going through a slump and negativity's coming to, but when you're going through a great streak like you guys are, does it work the same way?
Sure, no doubt. Yeah, and that's, you know, we struggle with that sometimes as a, you know, team handling success when the expectations have flipped instead of just being the underdog. So, but right now the team feels extremely focused. They got unbelievable energy. You can tell the difference, I think, moving between the last series, with Series 1 and the last series, and this one just feels very business-like, which is what you want.
So Chris, you and often have like chats off to the side, post shoot around, post practice, things like that. Just what do those chats do for you guys in your relationship, and kind of what are you guys talking about in those? Is it basketball? Is it non-basketball?
I mean, it could be anything. I mean, I would say the bulk of it is basketball, you know, but it could be anything for sure. It's just all, you know, part of the you know, relationship. Sometimes it's just little things. You know, sometimes it's asking him what he thinks, feels, what he's learned, what he sees. You know, how can we help him? You know, I think he's at the point now where he's really being able to impart a lot more. You know, I think early on, it was a lot of intake. Of course, you're trying to help him. You're trying to, put things in his mind to look for. Now he's giving you feedback, which is good, great. So it could be anything really. But
How will you guys handle your schedule
we're just we've got a lot of things we're working on, just about us, and some game plan stuff, regardless of who we play. So it'll be very similar to today. I would imagine we did a lot of live stuff today, so I would imagine tomorrow will be similar.
So like practicing before?
Yeah, we're not going to wait to practice after we know who we're going to play. So,
Chris, both Julius and Rudy have talked about Joe Ingles
Yeah.
recently. Just what's he meant to this team, and what's it say about just Joe as a guy to be able to take, coming here with a role and now just kind of being a bench player?
Yeah, he's been everything for us in terms of maturity. He's helped all the young guys. He's helped the vets. We brought him here to be far more of a prominent piece in terms of on the floor. After we made the trade, things shifted a little bit. Then he had some early season injuries, and that cost him maybe a good runway for us. But he's stayed professional. Everyone always talks about you have to have the vets on your team to help everybody. But the dirty little secret is a lot of vets you may not want on your team. They're trying to hang on to their career. They're salty. They're selfish. There are a lot of things. They're not all vets are created the same. But with Joe, we've got an all-star in that capacity. He's just selfless, direct. Has the right approach, the right manner, and it's like I said, he's helped everybody from Rob Dillingham to Rudy. You can talk to Rudy, and Rudy has great respect to him for him, and it just helps. He's been seamless, and invaluable.
Rudy says he's the best trash talker you got in practice. Does he loosen it up once in a while?
He talks trash. He definitely brings some spirit to everything. And Joe, that's one thing I love about him. He's super competitive. He's always been really salty. He always used to talk trash to me. So he's maintained that edge for sure.